What's up YouTube? It's Raining Card Games and welcome to the next episode of the Raidraptor Saga in my YouTube Plays Yu-Gi-Oh series. So last week you guys got to see my basic Raidraptor deck build and we took it to locals and saw how I did, and then I handed it over to you guys and you guys made a bunch of suggestions in what cards that I could change out to improve the strategy. Some were more interesting than others, but hey, the popular vote is the will of the people. So I went and turned it over to you guys and you guys made those changes. So now we applied those changes to the deck, and in a second we are going to look at the deck profile before heading out to locals. But before we do that, I would first like to have a big shout out to Copito for adding onto our Patreon tier. He is our first patron and joining in at the tier 2 level. So I want to just say a huge thank you for joining at that level. That kind of support is what really helps this channel keep on going so that I can keep on bringing you guys this kind of content. And if you're interested, my Patreon link is down in the description below. But if you guys are also interested in supporting the channel, please be sure to like, subscribe, and then comment. And for the comments in this video, make sure you're including the changes for the card that you are suggesting, because that way I can actually use that change in the polls. I can't just add cards without taking cards out. It's kind of how it works. And then also be sure to follow us on Instagram for updates on videos and just stuff we're doing with the channel for fun. Because it is inevitable. It is your destiny. Anyway, let's go ahead and check out the deck profile. Okay, so looking at how the main deck shapes up, there was only one change that was made. That is only the swapping out of the Singing Lanius for the Zephyros, the Blackwing, the Elite. Moving on to this spells and traps, nothing has changed, but overall, I think the ratios are pretty good. Who knows? Maybe you guys will think something different going into the future. But overall, this is what we have for the spell and trap lineup and for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. So there was one change. I added in that Rise Falcon in the place of Final Fortress Falcon. So instead of, in this case, then Ultimate Falcon will be our end-all be-all in terms of Xyz monsters and ranking up. And nothing has changed in the Link monster section at all. And then finally, we're going to go on to the extra deck. We had two changes in the extra deck. We swapped out the Pankratops and the Ghost Ogre for our double DD Crow. And that should do it. All right. That's the deck. Now, let's go ahead and see how we do at locals. So, this is, as you just saw in the title, this is actually the first match of the day, but it's not part of the tournament technically. This match actually ended right before the tournament started itself, but I figured we may as well include it anyway. This is actually game 3 of the match itself, and so it's against Dark Magician. We won in the first game just with our Big Bird out on the field and not being able to be banished by a Dark Magical Circle or just beaten over quite easily. And game 2 we lost just because of just a bad opening hand and just having everything else banished because of the magical circle, because of the stuff with navigation and also navigation negating effects and all that stuff. But overall, game 3, we're just able to establish enough board presence and enough damage to take the match. Nerds playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Ages 6 and up.
I'm 26, does that count?
I'm 24.
Sure. I'll give it to you.
Thanks, Dad.
You're grounded.
Papa.
Alright, so moving on to the first match of the tournament, game 2, but technically match 1 of the tournament, we are going up against Altergeist of all things, and unfortunately I'm not been able to open quite optimally, and yeah, it sucks that sometimes you're stuck into Raidraptors with cards like Fuzzy Lanius and stuff, and with no Xyz rank up spells, it's kind of tough. So ultimately he's just able to dismantle the tiny board that I have, and he takes game 1 quite easily. Moving on to game 2, I opt to go first again, and I go ahead and start doing some searches and see what I can go into, but with no way of ranking up, once again, it's just going into Force Strix and setting up a little bit of background, what I can, but yeah, it's a little unfortunate, and then it's just back and forth. Altergeist is just great at just taking out what I can do. And yeah, unfortunately, this match ends pretty much the same way as game 1 did, where I'm not able to really get off anything other than a 4 Strix, and all my resources are in vain, unfortunately.
If you want to look through my
By
deck, I don't care.
watching these nerds play Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'll let it go. I probably shouldn't, but I will.
It might have been a mistake.
Support your local nerd community.
Support your local nerd community. Well said.
I could have just held the phone to you.
You could.
Yeah,
I want to let you side deck. I want to let
I'm
you
already
guys.
done side decking.
Well, I want you to shuffle. Behold my audience.
Nice.
Oh shoot, she's worth like $4.
It's limited. Yeah, I already got one.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you can use this.
Not good with this.
So after my fun buy, we go into round 3 of the tournament, and technically that's 3 points, so I'll take that buy as a win. But I go up against, I just saw Orcust, and I actually get to go first, luckily. So same as before, 4 Strix, but I am able to get some monsters on the field, so at least it's a 3k body. But this is Orcust we're talking about, with the Danger Engine and the Scrap Engine, and Dingirsu is a card, which is a non-targeting send to the graveyard. So yeah, this is an interesting matchup for me, as in a lot of times of my stuff that I can get on board is spun back to deck or sent to the graveyard without really having to worry about worrying about activating any trigger effects or anything. So yeah, it's unfortunate. And then also having plays such as my searching effects, and then I don't know, it's just frustrating a little bit how Master Rule 4 can limit this deck. But that being said, going on into game 2, I opt to go first again, as always, because this deck is not the best going second. It can, but because I drew into my Imperm, I'm actually able to stop his plays from extending past the Scrap Wyvern. And I actually am able to go into Boral Sword and then bring out Ultimate Falcon thanks with the help of Soul Shave Force. So I actually have a decent sized board, and I'm able to bring his life points down to quite a decent low amount. So I'm actually quite proud of how I went, and with all the stuff I sided in too as well, but just how things went in game 2. Unfortunately, this is Orcust we're talking about, and it's still really consistent, and dangers are also a very consistent thing that can easily help you spam out other monsters as well. So, yes, the interaction was quite interesting, but I had one thing in my hand that I did side in. It's a Nibiru. So literally, I'm just waiting for him to do all his plays, send all his stuff down. I'm just waiting for the Nibiru because I know he's probably going to be able to beat over with his Boral Sword over my Ultimate Falcon. So I just dropped the Nibiru. But unfortunately, come my next turn, he ashes my 1 search when I bring out Tribute Lanius, and he takes it. All right, so round 4. We are going up against Quinton's rank 10 trains. I win the die roll. I already know he's playing trains, so I easily opt to go second because his opening board is set to pass. And then from there on out, I'm able to go into Revolution Falcon, because guess what? When he attacks a special summon monster, that monster's attack and defense becomes 0. So easy damage to get on board, and then with rank up spells and all this kind of fun stuff, I can actually make stuff happen. And we go back and forth a bit, but eventually I win.
Am I at 2,000?
You are at 15, my friend.
Okay.
We just won! Anyway, moving on to game 2. He makes me go first. Surprise, surprise. So I just go ahead and set up the best thing I can do. I am able to get into Ultimate Falcon. And I'm like, okay, show me what you got. But this is rank 10 trained. So getting over 30,500 attack is doable for them quite easily because Libe is a card. So I get whacked in the face for 2,500 after he beats over my Ultimate Falcon. And yeah, he takes this one. No, pretty easy to see. But moving on to our last game, I decide to go first. I open very suboptimally, And yeah, he takes it. Now, last match of the tournament, we go up against good old-fashioned zombies. And this is interesting. So I win the die roll. I opt to go first, and I go into Ultimate Falcon. And he starts off with his regular zombie play. He gets Jackaboo out and gets Zombie World off. But the great part about Ultimate Falcon, unaffected by all card effects. It's not a zombie card. It's unaffected by everything. It is a beefy bird. Baldrack can't banish it or anything. All these different cards. He's basically trying to just stall out and see if he has any outs to get over Big Bird, but he doesn't. And eventually, he tries to go beat over with the Avenged Slayer, but I'm able to use booster tricks to protect it. And I just keep on going back and forth. And with Ash and all these things to slow down his plays, even Fraulein, with its ability to power up and beat over, he can't. So we just go into game 2. Big Bird control. So he opts to go first for game 2, and he starts setting up his board. I'm able to slow him down a little bit with Ash and everything, and I just start to go into the plays that I can. Not too much though, because I didn't have any rank up magic spells right off the bat, so it did take some time to get some game save. But he goes into Necro Zombie Dragon, the Red Eyes one, and he's actually just able to use his effect to steal monsters and just get enough for game. Game 3, I obviously am choosing to go first and open up a great opening hand. I'm actually able to get out Ultimate Falcon with 2 materials under it. And I actually, it's same as game 1. Control the field. I actually could have made this play go earlier. I should have used his effect to detach a material to lower all the monsters' attack, and then use rank up magic skip force to bring out a satellite cannon Falcons to make the game end earlier. But hey, I still won just because Big Bird, he couldn't get over it.
All right, so now you guys have seen your changes in action. I leave it again to you guys. Leave down below in the comments what you think I should swap in for cards that I already have in the current deck. Let's try to make this Raidraptor deck nice. But hey, it's your guys' choice, so I have no say in the matter. I can still like and upvote your comments, but ultimately, you know the drill. Whichever are the most popular comments will then go to the polls, and then I leave it to you guys to vote for the changes. So have mercy. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. I will see you guys in the next episode.